Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're diving into some seriously cool AI research today, specifically those attempts to replicate OpenAI's mysterious O1 model.
Yeah, it's been fascinating to watch unfold.
Right, we've got this stack of research papers detailing the journey, the challenges, the breakthroughs, and we're going to break it all down for you. Get ready to discover some surprising strategies
Yeah.
and what they reveal about how AI learns.
It's pretty remarkable, actually. The research community's response to OpenAI's announcement of the O1 model has been incredible. You've got this language model capable of complex reasoning.
And they won't tell us how it works.
Exactly. And instead of just giving up,
Throwing in the towel?
right, multiple teams have embarked on these replication journeys.
It's like a scientific treasure hunt to recreate O1's capabilities, right?
I think that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
What I find so fascinating is how they're all taking such different approaches.
Some are all about replicating the results, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do we get those same outcomes?
Right.
But others are digging deeper, trying to understand the fundamental principles behind O1's reasoning.
It's like they want to know not just what it does, but how it thinks.
Well, let's start with one of these papers.
Okay.
It's called the O1 Replication Journey Part 1, and it dives into this method called journey learning, which is pretty different from the usual approach.
Yeah, instead of just focusing on finding the quickest answer, the shortcut, if you will,
Right.
this method encourages the AI to learn from the entire process of exploration. Think about learning to ride a bike.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't just hop on and know how to balance perfectly right
So
there.
many scrapes and bruises.
Exactly. All those wobbles, the falls, those are actually valuable data points. Journey learning gives AI that same opportunity to experiment.
To make those mistakes.
Exactly. Refine its approach, just like you did when you were learning to ride a bike.
So cool.
And the results are pretty amazing. They actually beat the shortcut learners on a really tough math data set.
And get this, they did it using only 327 training samples.
I know, it's incredible, right? It makes you wonder if we've been undervaluing the power of making mistakes,
And AI.
and maybe even in our own learning processes.
So interesting.
What I find particularly impressive is they achieve this without any extra tricks or hacks. It's a testament to the power of letting AI learn through exploration and discovery, just like we do.
But then, hold on. O1 Replication Journey Part 2 throws a bit of a curveball.
Oh yeah, this one's interesting.
This paper argues that a lot of teams are taking a shortcut in their replication attempts. They're using something called distillation.
Right. It's a clever technique, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Basically, they feed problems to OpenAI's public O1 API, get the solutions, and then train their models on those solutions.
So instead of figuring it out themselves,
Yeah.
they're peeking at the answer key before taking the test.
That's one way to put it. It raises some serious questions about transparency and real innovation in AI research.
Yeah, are we really advancing our understanding of AI if we're just teaching it to mimic O1 without actually understanding the mechanisms behind its reasoning?
It's a valid concern.
And that's a really crucial point, actually, because the Part 2 paper goes as far as to introduce something called the Technical Transparency Index, or TTI. What do you
Yeah.
make of this?
I think it's a necessary step. It's basically a checklist for evaluating how open and reproducible these O1 replication attempts really are.
So if everybody's secretly using distillation,
Yeah.
it becomes impossible to track real progress or build on each other's work.
Right. It's like trying to understand a scientific phenomenon by only looking at the results of an experiment
Okay.
without knowing anything about the methods or the data that led to those results.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work.
Right. You need to see the thought process, not just the final answer.
Precisely.
Okay, so the Part 2 paper highlights this issue of transparency, but then they do something really interesting. They take their distilled model, you know, the one trained on O1 solutions,
Right.
and they test it on tasks that go beyond math. They try things like safety analysis and fact-checking, areas where O1's capabilities haven't been publicly demonstrated.
Yeah. What they find is that the model actually shows improvements in some areas, like avoiding unsafe advice or identifying misleading information.
Pretty impressive.
It's quite interesting. It suggests that the model might be learning more than just math skills. It might be developing a deeper understanding of language and reasoning.
So instead of just crunching numbers, it's starting to think more critically and cautiously.
Yes, and that could have huge implications for AI ethics and the reliability of these systems.
Right, because if we deploy AI systems that haven't been carefully vetted for safety and, all of those things, it could have some unintended consequences.
Absolutely. I think these replication journeys are starting to reveal a deeper tension within AI research itself, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. There's this constant push and pull between quick wins,
Yeah.
the look what we can make the AI do mentality,
Right.
and the slow, meticulous work of truly understanding how and why it's doing it.
It's a fundamental challenge in the field. Do we prioritize quick results or do we prioritize genuine understanding?
And the O1 replication journey part 1 really embraces that open approach.
Oh, absolutely. They're not just sharing their successes.
They share their entire research process, like the hypotheses they tested, the tools they developed, even the dead ends they hit. You can find it all on GitHub.
That kind of transparency is crucial for building upon their work, for validating their findings, and for pushing research forward in new directions. It's the difference between a lone genius tinkering away in their garage versus a global team of scientists working together, sharing data and insights.
It makes you wonder which one leads to faster progress, right?
I have no doubt that collaborative approaches will always be more effective. When knowledge is shared freely, the collective intelligence of the community can be harnessed to solve complex problems much more efficiently.
Okay, so we've got these two competing approaches, right? We have journey learning, which emphasizes process and understanding. And then we have distillation, which prioritizes those quick results. What do you think this means for the future of AI research?
I think it poses a significant challenge. How do we balance the allure of rapid progress with the need for deep fundamental understanding? If we become too reliant on distillation, we risk stifling true innovation.
So how do we even measure genuine progress in that case? If everyone's just chasing benchmarks and metrics,
Yeah.
are we really getting closer to truly intelligent AI?
That's where the Technical Transparency Index comes in. It's a framework for evaluating not just the results, but the methods, encouraging researchers to be open about their techniques and data so we can assess the true value of their contributions.
It's like a quality control mechanism for AI research.
Yes.
It helps separate the hype from the genuine breakthroughs, the shortcuts from the real journeys of discovery.
And, when they applied this index to existing O1 replication attempts, the results were quite interesting. Some projects score very low on transparency, which makes it difficult to assess their claims. It's like they're saying, look, we achieved great performance, but we're not going to show you how we got there.
It's like a magician refusing to reveal their secrets. It might be entertaining, but it doesn't really advance our understanding of magic.
Exactly. Without transparency, it's impossible to determine whether the results are due to genuine innovation or just clever tricks and hidden shortcuts.
So it sounds like the takeaway here is we need more than just those flashy demos
Yes.
and impressive metrics. We
Yes.
need openness, collaboration, and a commitment to understanding the how and why, not just the what.
I couldn't agree more. The pursuit of AI should be a journey of collective discovery, not a race for individual glory.
Well said. Now, this brings us to a really interesting point. The Part 2 paper, despite all its talk about the problems with distillation, they actually use a distilled model for their own experiments. What do you make of that?
It's a bit ironic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it highlights the complexities of the issue. They acknowledge the limitations of distillation, but they also recognize its value as a research tool.
Okay.
By using a distilled model, they can directly compare its capabilities to those of the original O1.
So it's like a controlled experiment.
Exactly.
They're strategically using distillation to explore its strengths and weaknesses.
That's a good way to put it.
So did it live up to the hype?
Well, on benchmarks like the American Invitational Mathematics Examination, the distilled model actually outperformed OpenAI's publicly available O1 preview model.
Wow, really? So even with the shortcuts,
Yes.
they were able to achieve comparable or even better performance.
That's right. But it's important to remember that this was achieved under very specific conditions, particularly in terms of reasoning computational costs.
Oh, right.
Basically, the amount of computation allowed during the problem-solving process.
So it's not really an apples-to-apples comparison.
Right.
The distilled model might be faster or more efficient, but does it have the same depth of understanding as the original O1?
That's the key question. And the Part 2 paper acknowledges that there's still a gap, particularly in terms of genuine mathematical reasoning ability.
So there's a trade-off. You gain speed and efficiency, but you potentially sacrifice depth of understanding. It makes you wonder, what's more important in the long run?
It's a tough question, and it really depends on the specific application. Sometimes speed and efficiency are paramount. Other times, deep understanding and reasoning are essential.
It's like the debate about artificial intelligence versus artificial general intelligence.
Mm.
Are we aiming for AI that can excel at specific tasks, or AI that can truly understand and reason like a human?
And these O1 replication journeys show us that the path we choose will have a huge impact, not just on the future of AI technology, but on the research community itself. You know, it's amazing what you can uncover when you really delve into a topic like this. We've got all these researchers trying to uh, crack the code of OpenAI's O1, and in the process, they're stumbling upon these fascinating insights into how AI learns most effectively.
It's like they're explorers, right? Charting some unknown territory. And sometimes the most exciting discoveries happen when when you take a wrong turn.
Precisely. Remember that journey learning approach we were discussing? That's a prime example. By allowing the AI to actually learn from its mistakes, they ended up achieving even better results than those solely fixated on finding that quickest solution.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that sometimes the most efficient path isn't necessarily the most effective one, especially when we're dealing with something as intricate as AI.
Absolutely. And this brings us to another intriguing facet of this research. You might recall that the Part 2 paper, while expressing some reservations about distillation, actually utilizes a distilled model for their own experiments.
Yeah, that definitely caught my eye as well. It seems a bit contradictory, wouldn't you say?
It does on the surface, but it also reveals a nuanced understanding of the issue at hand. They acknowledge the inherent limitations of distillation, but they also recognize its potential value as a research tool. By employing a distilled model, they can directly compare its capabilities to those of the original O1, getting valuable insights into what's gained and what might be lost throughout the process.
So it's like a controlled experiment. They're using distillation strategically to explore its strengths and weaknesses, right?
Precisely.
Okay, so did it live up to all the hype?
Well, on specific benchmarks, like the American Invitational Mathematics Examination, or A, the distilled model actually outperformed OpenAI's publicly available O1 preview model.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable. So even with what some might consider, shortcuts, they managed to achieve comparable, if not better, performance.
Yes, but it's essential to keep in mind that these results were obtained under very specific conditions, particularly those related to reasoning computational costs. Essentially, that refers to the amount of computation they allowed during the problem-solving process.
So it's not a simple apples to apples comparison then.
Right.
I mean, the distilled model might be faster or more efficient, but does it truly possess the same depth of understanding as the original O1?
That's the crucial question, and thankfully the Part 2 paper addresses this directly. They acknowledge that there remains a gap between the distilled model and O1, especially when it comes to that genuine mathematical reasoning ability.
So it seems like there's an inherent trade-off at play. You might gain speed and efficiency through distillation, but potentially at the expense of that deeper understanding. It makes you wonder, what's more crucial in the grand scheme of AI development?
That's a complex question without a simple answer. It really hinges on the specific application. In some instances, speed and efficiency might be the top priority, but in others, it's that deep understanding and sophisticated reasoning that are truly essential.
That makes me think about the whole debate surrounding artificial intelligence versus artificial general intelligence. Are we ultimately aiming to create AI that excels at very specific tasks? Or AI that can genuinely understand and reason like us, like a human, capable of tackling a much broader range of problems?
And as these O1 replication journeys are so beautifully illustrating, the path we choose will have a profound impact, not just on the future of AI as a technology, but on the entire research community itself.
It's definitely food for thought.
Hmm.
But speaking of exploring different paths, here's where things get even more interesting. You're not going to believe this, but the researchers didn't just stick with those mathematical problems. They actually decided to test their distilled model on something completely different: safety analysis.
It's a fascinating twist, isn't it? They were curious to see how a model trained on mathematical reasoning would perform on tasks requiring a more nuanced understanding of language, ethics, and those potential risks.
And get this, the results were pretty mind-blowing. The distilled model showed a significant improvement in its ability to avoid giving unsafe advice and to identify potentially harmful actions.
It's quite a remarkable finding. It suggests that the model may be developing more than just the capacity to solve equations. Perhaps it's even beginning to cultivate a broader understanding of more abstract concepts like safety and risk.
It's like it's starting to see the bigger picture,
Right.
recognizing those ethical considerations and potential consequences of its actions.
It's a tantalizing glimpse into a future where AI systems can not only tackle those complex problems, but also grapple with the ethical dimensions of their solutions, potentially contributing to a safer and more equitable world.
It's a vision worth pursuing, but the Part 2 paper, Ever the Voice of Reason, also injects a note of caution. When they tested the distilled model on fact-checking tasks, things became a little more complicated.
Ah, yes. While the model did show some progress in identifying misleading information, it also exhibited a tendency to hallucinate. Essentially, it would fabricate facts or even invent sources to try to support its claims.
Okay, that's not great. So it's like it's trying to be helpful, trying to sound authoritative, but it ends up getting things wrong. That could have some pretty serious consequences, right?
It's a persistent challenge with these large language models. They can generate text that sounds incredibly fluent, even convincing, but they don't always grasp that underlying truth or accuracy of what they're saying.
It's almost like listening to someone who's incredibly charming and persuasive, but they're actually spinning a web of lies. It highlights the crucial need to train AI models not only for intelligence, but also for honesty and reliability.
Precisely. We need to find effective ways to ground these models in reality, to ensure their reasoning is anchored in facts and evidence, not just clever manipulation of language.
It's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you train these models on data filled with misinformation, it's not surprising that they'll sometimes generate outputs that are inaccurate or even harmful.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to carefully curate the data these models are trained on and to rigorously evaluate the systems we create. We need to develop robust methods for detecting and mitigating those hallucinations, making sure AI models are not only intelligent, but also truthful and accountable for what they produce.
It sounds like this challenge will require collaboration across a wide range of disciplines. Computer scientists, ethicists, linguists, maybe even philosophers, they all need to work together to make sure AI development aligns with those human values and societal goals.
I agree. It's a massive undertaking, but it's absolutely vital for the future of AI.
And speaking of ensuring responsible AI development, you probably noticed that the Part 2 paper proposes this framework for evaluating those O1 replication attempts, not just in terms of their performance, but also their transparency and reproducibility.
Yes, they introduce what they call the Technical Transparency Index, or TTI. It goes beyond simply looking at benchmarks and metrics. It's like a checklist for assessing how open and accessible these research projects really are, and how clearly they document their methods and the data they use.
So it's like they're saying, don't just show us the results, but walk us through how you got there. Open up that black box, so to speak, and let us see the inner workings, the decision-making process, all the challenges you encountered along the way.
Precisely. Transparency is essential for cultivating genuine collaboration and collective progress within the AI research community. If researchers can't properly understand each other's work, if everyone is working in isolation, it becomes so much harder to build upon those past successes and move the entire field forward.
I see what you mean. It's like trying to assemble a piece of furniture from IKEA with those instruction manuals that are clear and easy to follow versus trying to do it with no instructions at all.
That's a fantastic analogy. The TTI aims to ensure that those assembly instructions for AI research are clear, comprehensive, and readily available to everyone. It evaluates transparency across a variety of key dimensions, including data transparency, methodological transparency, evaluation transparency, and those open source resources.
It sounds incredibly thorough. What was the motivation behind creating such a detailed index?
The TTI is designed with the goal of ensuring that research findings are reproducible and that the knowledge gained can be shared and built upon by others. It helps separate that true innovation from hype, encourages more rigorous scientific practices, and fosters a culture of openness and collaboration within the AI research community.
So how did these various O1 replication attempts actually score on the TTI? Were there any that stood out, either for their exceptional transparency or for falling short?
Well, the Part 2 paper applied the TTI to several prominent O1 replication projects, and the results were quite revealing. Some projects, like the O1 replication journey Part 1, received very high marks for their transparency. They provided very detailed documentation of their methods, their data, and their code, making it relatively easy for others to understand and replicate their work.
That's fantastic to hear. It sets a really positive example for others to emulate. But what about those projects that didn't fare as well? What were some of those common areas where they fell short?
A frequent issue was a lack of transparency. regarding the data they used. Many projects didn't provide sufficient details about the datasets they used, how they selected that data, or how they went about generating any synthetic data. This lack of transparency makes it incredibly difficult to properly evaluate the validity and generalizability of their findings.
It's almost like trying to understand a scientific experiment without knowing the specifics of the materials and methods used. You can't truly evaluate the results without that crucial information.
You're absolutely right. And another recurring problem was insufficient methodological transparency. Some projects only offered vague descriptions of their techniques, failing to adequately document their algorithms, training procedures, or their evaluation metrics. This lack of detail makes it practically impossible for anyone else to try to reproduce their results.
It reminds me of someone claiming to have invented a perpetual motion machine, but then refusing to share the blueprints or explain how it works. It's hard to take such a claim seriously without greater transparency.
Transparency is absolutely fundamental to scientific progress, and the TTI plays a vital role in ensuring that AI research adheres to these critical standards.
So it seems like the TTI is playing a vital role in fostering a more open and collaborative research environment within the AI community. It's encouraging to see that some teams are fully embracing this level of transparency and really setting a positive example for others to follow. But zooming out a bit, what does this entire quest to replicate O1 tell us about the broader state of AI research?
That's a thought-provoking question. I believe it reveals something quite profound about the nature of AI research itself, about the challenges and opportunities we face as we continue pushing the boundaries of this field.
What do you mean?
Well, consider this. This entire endeavor has sparked crucial conversations about what we truly value in AI development, how we go about measuring progress, and ultimately, what kind of future we envision creating with AI.
It's a reminder that we have choices to make, isn't it? Do we want to see a future where AI is shrouded in secrecy, controlled by just a select few? Or do we envision a future where knowledge flows freely, where collaboration and innovation flourish, and where AI development is guided by ethical principles and a genuine commitment to the common good?
That's precisely the point. These O1 replication journeys are compelling us to confront these fundamental questions head-on and to recognize that the decisions we're making today will have far-reaching consequences, not just for the future of AI as a technology, but for humanity as a whole.
That's a lot to consider. It's not simply about building machines that are smarter. It's about building a world that's better.
Precisely. A world where AI can empower us to solve those grand challenges we face and to create a more just and sustainable future for everyone.
It's a vision worth striving for, absolutely. But how do we ensure AI development stays on that path? What are the key takeaways, the lessons learned from these O1 replication journeys that can help guide us toward that brighter future?
Well, I think we can glean several critical lessons from this research. First and foremost, transparency needs to be a core value. We need open, reproducible research practices that allow us to collectively build upon each other's work and advance the field as a whole. And the Technical Transparency Index offers a valuable framework for promoting this kind of openness.
Transparency is definitely key. It's like shining a light into that black box, allowing us to see those inner workings, to understand the strengths and limitations, and to spot any potential risks early on.
Exactly. And we also need to strike a balance between pursuing those quick wins, those flashy demos and impressive benchmarks, and investing in the kind of deep fundamental research that leads to truly groundbreaking discoveries and a more robust understanding of AI.
It's like the difference between learning a magic trick through rote memorization and truly grasping the principles of illusion and deception that underpin it. The former might earn you some applause in the short term, but it's the latter that will allow you to create something truly innovative and awe-inspiring.
And finally, perhaps most crucially, we must never lose sight of the ethical implications of AI development. As we create these increasingly powerful AI systems, we have a profound responsibility to ensure that they align with human values and promote safety, fairness, and the well-being of everyone.
It's a powerful reminder that it's not just about creating machines that are smarter, but about building a future that is better. A future where AI can help us overcome those significant challenges and create a more just and sustainable world for all.
These O1 replication journeys have been an incredible learning experience, a catalyst for crucial conversations, and a powerful reminder that the future of AI is not predetermined. It's a future that we are actively shaping through our choices, our actions, and our unwavering commitment to building a world where AI can benefit all of humanity.
That's a message worth sharing far and wide. You've taken this deep dive into some truly cutting-edge AI research, but remember, this isn't just a spectator sport. Your curiosity, your willingness to think critically, and your active engagement in these crucial conversations, that's what will ultimately shape the future of AI. And as you continue to explore this fascinating field, here's a final thought to ponder. We've witnessed how AI can learn through trial and error, through exploration, making mistakes, backtracking, and refining its approach. Could this type of journey-based learning ultimately lead to AI systems that are not merely intelligent, but truly creative? AI that can make groundbreaking discoveries and solve problems that we as humans haven't even begun to imagine.
It's a tantalizing possibility, one that underscores the immense potential of AI to reshape our world in profound ways.
Well, that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into the fascinating world of O1 replication. Be sure to join us next time as we continue to explore this landscape and uncover even more insights into the future of AI. Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing those boundaries of what's possible.
Wow, it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? Exploring all these different approaches to replicating O1. I mean, it really makes you think about the bigger picture of AI development.
Doesn't it? It's like we're watching this pivotal moment unfold, right? The decisions being made today will have consequences we might not even fully grasp yet. It's exciting and a little bit daunting all at the same time.
It really is. And it forces you to confront some pretty big questions about the future you want to see.
Right. Like, what role do we want AI to play in our lives? What are the limits? How do we ensure it's used for good? Exactly. Do we envision a world where AI is this force for positive change, helping us solve global challenges, creating a more equitable society, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Or are we more worried about the potential risks? Like, what if it becomes uncontrollable or even harmful?
These are questions that keep me up at night, to be honest, and I don't think there are any easy answers.
No, definitely not. But I think that's what makes these O1 replication journeys so valuable. They're forcing us to confront these fundamental questions, to really grapple with them.
Right, instead of just brushing them aside.
Yeah, exactly. To think critically about the path we want to take, the future we want to build with AI.
I couldn't agree more. So, taking a step back for a moment, reflecting on everything we've learned,
Yeah.
what are some of the key takeaways for you, the big aha moments that have emerged from all this?
Well, I think one of the most striking insights, at least for me, is the sheer importance of transparency in AI research.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've seen time and time again how a lack of transparency can really hinder progress.
Makes it hard to build on existing work, to assess whether claims are actually valid, all of that.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle, but with half the pieces missing.
Right. You can't see the full picture, so you never really get the whole story.
Exactly. And that's why I think initiatives like the Technical Transparency Index are so crucial. It provides that framework, right, for ensuring that AI research is conducted in an open, reproducible way, which ultimately benefits everyone.
Yeah, I like that. It's like establishing a clear set of rules for the game. So everyone's playing fair, and we can all work together towards a common goal.
Right, this collective understanding of AI.
And along with transparency, I think these replication journeys really underscore the need for balance in AI research. Finding that sweet spot,
Yeah.
between chasing those quick wins,
Right.
the flashy demos, the impressive benchmark.
Headlines.
Exactly. And investing in that deeper, more fundamental research that leads to genuine breakthroughs, a true understanding of how AI works.
It's like the difference between learning a magic trick by just memorizing the steps versus truly understanding the principles of illusion, the psychology behind it, that sort of thing.
Right, right.
One might get you some applause in the short term, but the other allows you to create something truly innovative and magical.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And, as you journey deeper into this world of AI, it's vital to never lose sight of the ethical implications.
Right, because it's not just about, building cool tech. It's about using it responsibly.
It's about understanding the potential impact on people's lives, on society as a whole.
Right. AI has the power to, it has the power to change so much, but it's up to us to ensure those changes are positive, that they align with our values. It's like being given this powerful new tool, right? And you have to ask yourself, am I going to use this to build something beautiful, something beneficial, or am I going to let it fall into the wrong hands and potentially cause harm?
That's a profound way to put it. And it underscores the immense responsibility that comes with developing and deploying these increasingly sophisticated AI systems. We need to make sure they're safe, that they're fair, that they're accountable, that they're used to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Exactly. And that's not something that's going to happen automatically. It requires constant vigilance, critical thinking, asking those tough questions.
And being willing to challenge assumptions, to have those difficult conversations.
Right? To push back against the hype, the easy answers.
And to always keep learning, keep exploring, keep questioning.
Yeah. Because ultimately, the future of AI is not some predetermined outcome. It's something that we're all actively shaping right now through our choices, our actions, our commitment to building a better world.
I like that. Our commitment to building a better world. That's at the heart of it all, isn't it?
I think so. It's not just about building smart machines. It's about building a smarter future, one that's more just, more sustainable, more equitable for everyone.
Well said.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of O1 replication. We've covered a lot of ground today, explored some fascinating research, and hopefully sparked some new ideas and questions along the way. But remember, this is just the beginning. The exploration of AI is an ongoing journey, and it's a journey that we're all on together. So keep asking those tough questions, keep pushing for transparency and accountability, keep believing in the power of AI to make a positive impact on the world. And until next time, keep exploring.